Crypto ETFs are making a comeback. Crypto funds recorded $1.1 billion in inflows last week, the largest that we have seen in the past 7 weeks. This marks a reversal for four consecutive weekly withdrawals totaling $4.7 billion. The US led with 994 million in inflows, followed by Canada at about 100 million and Switzerland with about 24 million, while Germany saw, outflows of about 57 million. So you're starting to see things pick up slowly but surely again. Something we've been talking about on the channel, pretty much since Bitcoin retested some of the key levels. But welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel, to my XRP family. Thank you so much for all the love that you guys show on a regular day-to-day basis. Let's take a look at what's happening with the price of XRP and, of course, what we could be expecting as we are going into Thursday morning. So if we're looking across the board, we're seeing an amazing green day once again. So pretty much over the last 48 hours, we've seen, quite some bullish price action across the board. As far as, XRP price is concerned, we're down a little bit on, the USD side of things, and Bitcoin down about 1.3% on the USD side. On the Bitcoin side, 1.5% over the last 24 hours. Now, if you're looking at the price, $2.17 with the market cap at $131.2 billion and the 24-hour trading volume at 3.3 billion. As always, just a quick disclaimer, anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. Pretty much since Vanguard came in the picture, guys, things have just gotten better and better, in my opinion. Look at this spot volume for ETFs. Once again, $35.16 million. But that's not the exciting part. The exciting part, in my opinion, is the inflows. Another day, another big inflows for XRP ETF. So you can see, so Bitcoin saw outflows actually. Ethereum and XRP are the only coins that have seen inflows. But you got to give credit to also, Chainlink. That's an honorable mention, which I want to kind of go over. I mentioned this in my market analysis update as well, if you did end up watching it. But take a look at this. The new grayscale spot Chainlink ETF did insane amount of numbers. If you want to put the inflows, $41 million out the gate. And we talk about the ETF mania starting, and this is a perfect example of that. At the beginning of the year, and obviously in the past, these are things people used to talk about quite a bit, because of course when ETFs go in picture, that means institutional interest could come in, institutions can come on board quite easily, and they'd feel more comfortable doing so, especially when the ETF is in the picture. So now you're really seeing that happening, and these numbers in this market condition, yes, the market is starting to slowly but surely get better, but in these market conditions still, it is very impressive. $50 million of inflows on XRP. But take a look at this. Ripple Brad Girlinghouse says 2026 is shaping up to be a breakout year for crypto. Clear US rules, rising institutional demand from BlackRock and Vanguard, growing ETF inflows, and expanding stablecoin utility all point to a stronger market ahead. And what he also said in this is, a few years back, a lot of these big entities, were just not too positive about crypto as, a market itself. And now, you're seeing the complete shift taking place. A reason why there's a complete shift taking place is because the biggest market in the world, which is the US, they are coming on board. They're starting to see, crypto as a real, asset class, specifically Bitcoin. And, you're starting to see there's a lot of adoption coming from here. And of course, a lot of innovation happening. So a lot happening pretty much at once. So obviously that is building confidence, and a lot of money that never really flowed into crypto now potentially could do so. Yet you're seeing consecutively 2026 a lot of big names that are going to be launching their own platforms, for crypto trading or custody, so on and so forth, for their clientele. And that's what the CEO of Brian Armstrong, who's the CEO of Coinbase, he said that there's a lot of big banks coming on board. They're coming and consulting with them, talking about getting their expertise about obviously self custody, and trading, so on and so forth. That tells you the momentum is shifting right in front of our eyes. Moving forward, take a look at this though. You know, if you will put this into perspective, this is mind-boggling in my opinion. Absolutely wild, 700 million plus inflows for XRP ETFs in just the past 11 days, guys. Let that sink in. $750 million in inflows coming into XRP. And, with the market conditions that are, again, if you look at it on a monthly time frame, kind of sums it up. Yes, a few coins are picking up slowly but surely, but in a grand scheme of things, coins are still down quite substantially, but markets slowly but surely picking up traction, as you can see for yourself, which tells you everything you need to know. And a lot of people were hesitant. A lot of people were, I wouldn't say a lot of people were doubting, XRP's willingness to, pull these types of numbers when it comes to out the gate. And it did crazy amounts of numbers because 11 days, 750 plus million dollars is not a small number, and we should not be overlooking this. And as far as the native token price is concerned, a lot of people overlook that on a daily basis. People expect, instant gratification, but just don't zoom out and see, the long accumulation zone that XRP price was in for such a long time. You could see for yourself. People are complaining about this, but literally since May 2022 all the way till November 2nd, 2024, we consolidating within this key range below the 78.6 fib zone. And people are complaining about this. Do you get what I mean? So we always want to zoom out, understand, what's happening, understand, the strength, understand the overall momentum. But take a look at this. This is quite funny to me. Senator Cynthia Lumens, posted this picture here. Obviously, it's a laptop with Bitcoin, and it says Franklin buys Bitcoin and finds financial freedom. And if you don't know, this is a TV show, a very popular TV show, a show from my childhood. But this was a very funny in my opinion. But again, highlighting something even bigger that big players are starting to pay attention. But yeah. Let me know in the comments what you guys personally think. But as far as the dominance is concerned, I obviously mentioned this in my market analysis update as well. We've seen quite a sharp pullback for the dominance, as you can see for yourself. We want to see a continuation of downwards trajectory for the dominance. Very important. As far as Bitcoin is concerned, Bitcoin retested once again above our key resistance at $93,780. We got rejected at that key range, but could today be the time where we finally break out of here? If so, we want to see the daily close happening above that key range. If it's able to do that, I think Bitcoin is pretty much on its way up to $95,000 to $96,000, and that would be a very realistic target to be looking forward to. So Bitcoin is looking amazing right now, but again, I did mention in my market analysis update, I would strongly encourage you guys to watch those updates. But I pretty much kind of highlight in that update that we're going to see FOMC meeting next week. So do expect some sort of volatility, because now if the prices were still within the 78.6, I would have thought that yes, the market is still not priced in with the FOMC rate cut that is obviously most probably going to happen. There's about 90% probability of that happening. I would have said that there's a very strong chance that the overall market is not priced in for that rate cut if the prices were still here. But we're sitting in the 0.50, and breaking out of this key resistance again could take us up to the $96,000 key range. And if that were to happen, again, I am strongly believing that we will see some sort of a pullback or some sort of sell the news event taking place, on the day of or a few days before. And I'm kind of basing it off of the previous FOMC meetings as well. But we've got to take it kind of one step at a time. As far as XRP's price is concerned, still ranging in the 0.50 fib zone, as you could see for yourself. We actually, are having a little bit of a hard time breaking out of a resistance at $2.21, but ranging very nicely above $2. 16 cents key support line, if you want to put it that way. Nice consolidation. Obviously, this U shape, this is very, very funny to me. But again, a continuous reminder why you want to stay away from leverage trading platforms. I cannot stress this enough, because just imagine, people that were, bullish on the market when you're longing. Again, I'm totally against leverage trading platform. I would never encourage leverage trading platforms, but I'm just giving you an example why you want to stay away from leverage trading platform. Imagine the people that were, long here, and then you saw this major shakeout, and then, you're seeing the prices go exactly, where the prices were supposed to be for these people that were long. And now their positions are no longer valid, but people that were holding spot, they still have their XRP. You get what I'm trying to get at? So, don't fall for, those big bonuses that you could sign up, this and that, yada, yada, yada. Just stay away from leverage trading, as you guys know. Thank you so much, from the bottom of my heart for all the love that you guys are showing. Always zoom out, take a look at, the overall performance. And there's so much happening right now. XRP pulling very impressive numbers. Yes, always, there's going to be one or two people going to come out and say, oh, well, XRP's price is not going up. XRP's price is not going up, Crypto ZX, but the ETFs are, doing crazy amounts of volume. Let me kind of take you guys back down first and foremost to November 21st. We're up 21% since then. So that's number one. Number two is when you look at ETF numbers, you need to remember, these ETF managers are not going on the open market, meaning exchanges, and buying XRP there. They go through OTC. And OTC volume does not reflect or does not have an impact on the price of the token itself. But, from the fundamental side, that is very bullish. But again, you got to take it step by step. Let me know in the comments what you guys personally think. Thank you so much for all the love. We'll see you later with Crypto ZX, and peace out.